Hello and welcome to another episode of the Federal Church Presents Better Than Bloomberg. Continuing our coverage of the 2023 global financial system collapse, the worst ever, as the Federal Reserve goes all in on making you poor. At least the 99.99%. There's a couple good notes here on Zero Hedge about the third worldization and the absolute failure of this shithole that is America. Here's a good one from Michael Snyder from the Economic Collapse blog. Does have always usually puts out some pretty good work there. Blind faith. These economic numbers are staggering. These are for this is to put into perspective the idiocy where the morons still seem to think they're doing well. They're not. Oh, and even better that they're the greatest country on earth. They're actually the brokest country in the history of the world, the largest debtor nation in the history of the world. And now they can't print any more money. So that inflated standard of living they have is now gone. We're struggling to make it in this economy. You're not alone, because there are millions of other Americans in the exact same boat. And again, it's their Bolshevik crap like that too, which is why you should make sure that you're not in that shit boat. Needless to say, the cost of living has become extremely oppressive, and that has put a tremendous amount of financial stress on U.S. families. Unfortunately, the Federal Reserve has chosen to fight inflation by aggressively hiking interest rates. That is starting to cause massive problems. No, it's not really what's starting to cause massive problems in their little, fake, centrally planned monetary system, their financial system. It's the fact that they printed trillions of dollars. The money supply is actually shrinking. That again is relative. Technically, he may be right in that statement, where they had shrunken part of the money supply and quantitative tightening. It doesn't change the fact that they printed trillions of fucking dollars. And then now, because they're basically all their commercial bankers are dipshits, and all of their reserves are now insolvent in their garbage banking system, the Fed and the Treasury are now forced to print trillions more dollars to try to cover it. But they just pour more fuel on the fire. The banking system has been thrown into a state of chaos, and we are witnessing a tsunami of layoffs. Yeah, because the best part of that, too, is that, their economy was already imploding. The actual economy was already imploding. And then, now because of their little banking failure, they get to have credit contracting when their whole economy was inflated by credit and money printing. We are witnessing a tsunami of layoffs that is unlike anything that we have seen since the Great Recession. Oh, and let that be a reminder. You should probably not be a complete and utter moron, thinking you're going to screw around with the jobs and businesses and people like the Reverend here, who you think you're going to go to about your economic policy. Fucking dipshits. And again, these morons still have the fucking idiotic perception that my hedge fund will not be making billions of dollars. Fuck you and your boat. For most Americans, employment is the only thing standing between them and poverty. Most of them have negative net worths, and they have no money in the bank, so they're not really concerned about no bank runs, because they don't have any fucking money in the bank to begin with. In fact, one recent survey discovered that 44% of Americans actually work more than one job. And that's the thing. They're basically sweatshop workers. They have no talents, no skills, no education, and that's why they're in their shitty little boat and can't get into a better boat. Because who would want them in their boat? And now they have multiple shitty jobs because it's a third world banana republic. They call places industrialized nations for a reason. It's because they have industry. That is not something they have in the third world dump. 44% of Americans work a second job, a 13% increase relative to the Trump administration, a Lending Club report revealed Tuesday. The recent increase under President Joe Biden is highlighted by a survey from FlexJobs, which found 69% of employed professionals either have a side job or want one. And that's even more descriptive of their idiot, failed state. They side hustle. Fucking morons, I swear to God. They're the dumbest fucking people on earth. And they actually, what else do they call it? They'll come up with some like bullshit other activity or something, and they're basically failed economy. And then they tell themselves they're awesome. This is our economy now. Yeah, you should probably find a different one. Tens of millions of Americans have to work multiple jobs just to survive. Well, that's what happens when you have basically monetize all your massive debt, which is the largest debt in the history of the fucking world. Largest amount of sovereign debt in the history of the world. And at this point, more than 60% of the population is living paycheck to paycheck. Oh, and the even dumber part, they thought the people that should be running their economy should be living like their idiot existence. Yeah, let's see if that improves for them, by the way. The Lending Club report also revealed 62% of Americans, including 48% of high-income consumers, were living paycheck to paycheck in February, up 2 percentage points from the month prior. But if you're able to find a way to scrape by from month to month, you should be quite happy because according to author Matthew Desmond, approximately 18 million Americans have been living in a state of deep poverty. That again is another good example of their shit idiocy. You probably should not screw around with the wealth of people you cry to about your economic problems. Marching morons, which is a book I haven't read yet. That's what I'm referencing there, but I'm sure it's a good one. In his book, Desmond, analyzing data from the U.S. Census Bureau and other sources, reports that 1 in 18 people in the U.S. live in what's considered deep poverty or what he calls a subterranean level of scarcity. They call them slums. And the funny part is that if you see slums in the third world, at least those slums have like corrugated metal huts. These people live in like tents made in China, out of nylon. In 2020, this category included people who make less than $6,380 a year, or families of 4 living on less than $13,100. In 2020, almost 18 million people in America lived in these conditions, including some 5 million children. That, I can tell you, will get much worse in the coming years, especially as there's a couple other notes too that are about de-dollarization and, well, basically just their failed state and their failed money printing. As I sit here, I am having a difficult time comprehending these numbers. I don't. It's a third world dump. They are just so bad. Unfortunately, economic conditions are rapidly getting worse. On Thursday, we learned that Roku will be conducting a second round of layoffs. Yeah, that's kind of what happens when $500 million just fucking disappears. What did you think would happen? Streaming device company Roku is planning to lay off another 200 workers just months after it cut the same number of positions in 2022. In a U.S. SEC filing this week, Roku Inc. wrote that it has approved a restructuring plan to lower the company's year-over-year operating expense growth and prioritize projects that the company believes will have a higher return on investment, which is expected to impact approximately 200 employees, approximately 6% of the company's workforce, and result in the exit and sublease or cease use of certain office facilities that the company does not want to occupy. But, I think he goes into a number of layoffs there. But the one that I found most entertaining was that there was Accenture, too. Kind of a second-rate consulting company. And they're laying off 19,000 people. And the hilarity of that is that they screwed around in their stupid little farce here. And their stupid little farce on social media. They screwed around with my job there. One involving, specifically fixed income, too. And then, for some reason, they thought this would benefit themselves in their stupid little Bolshevik little farce, where the stupid, lazy, and entitled, and basically, broke-ass poor, thought that they would feel better about themselves, and then they got themselves a banking failure. Kind of funny. And 19,000 people losing their fucking jobs just in that one company alone. That's how stupid this shit society is. I'm looking at it too. And then he goes on to name the EA. Yeah, like this is a bad thing. These morons spending their lives in some delusion, some other delusion than social media, video games. Yeah, it's probably better off they lay off people. Video game publisher Electronic Arts said on Wednesday will lay off about 6% of its workforce and reduce office space in an attempt to cut costs. Yeah, here's more of the marching morons who think they're equal. You're not so fucking equal now, are you? Well, the rest of you are in your little boat. You're all equally poor. How'd that work out for you? EA had about 12,900 staff as of March end last year. The Madden NFL publisher also said it will move away from projects that do not contribute to its strategy. I was quite alarmed when I heard that. I thought EA was doing well. Yeah. Because they were all at home playing fucking video games during COVID while they were printing trillions of fucking dollars and then now crying that they have inflation after printing trillions of dollars and had everybody not producing anything. They're fucking geniuses. And they couldn't figure out why their banks became insolvent either. Especially when they thought they were so fucking great. Oh, and equal too, by the way. It's more than marching moron idiots that they have to see, by the way. They can't do a damn thing that fucking makes sense either. This is why they're poor. Why their retirements are gone. But again, that Accenture one was definitely a damn good deserving one too. And again, I still see the stupidity of these fucking garbage instead of the people I should be around. And they still deludedly believe that I'm going to make them richer. Everything I prophesized, by the way, has happened to be true. It happened to happen. But for some reason, they think, not returning the property, not acknowledging their wrongdoing, not paying for the property they stole and the damages they caused. Oh, and especially making those donations there, thinking they're just going to be spying on me for free. Oh, and don't forget drugging my goddamn fucking food too. Their stupid little psychiatric medications, because they were actually mentally ill enough to think that they were going to broadcast somebody for free, bother this person, harass this person, gaslight him, lie to his face, cause him problems with the people he chooses to spend his time around. That this person would make them richer instead of love watching them get poverty. They're the stupidest, most deranged shit on earth, and they should be on those medications. And they actually thought they would medicate me to make them richer and enlighten them. Fucking idiots. Oh, especially with what I saw today, too, and the people I should have been spending my time around instead of these garbage. Again, who still think they're entitled to anything from me for free, by the way. Fucking shit. The most mentally ill people on earth, they should be on medication. Here's a good one, too, that they can cry to. If Bed Bath & Beyond is unable to raise hundreds of millions of dollars, this is the stupidity, too. They should just pay me that money instead of their garbage, pop singers. Because they have basically in their stupid little society, all their idiotic priorities, which they can cry to about their problems, by the way, especially their economic problems. Oh, and just like the other pop singer, too, who thought they were going to be parasites off of my fame and their stupid little farce. I do believe one does work for, Merrill Lynch. So maybe you can cry to that one. They're all equal. The entire company may soon go belly up. And if you've ever walked into these things, I mean, they're horrible condition. They pretty much are, bankrupt and over. The stores are no longer anything that will be functioning. So Bed Bath & Beyond will sell up to $300 million of its stock to repay creditors and fund its business as it struggles to avoid bankruptcy. If it's not able to raise sufficient money from the offering, the home furnishing giant said Thursday it expects to likely file for bankruptcy. There are going to be so many stories like this in the months ahead. Yeah, that tends to happen when the people who produce nothing only live off of credit, and that credit is now gone. Especially in the form of, loans from the Chinese and trillions of dollars in treasuries that they buy, toiletries that they will absolutely no longer be doing. And all that money flooding back to make sure that they're getting tons of inflation. Yeah, that's not going to be going well for them in their stupid little boat. By the way, that's what they get for fucking around my goddamn cruise ship and yachts. Because they're equal. And there's garbage is still being retarded garbage. I don't know if they ever put this stuff up online and then put the retards on router vision around it, simultaneously. Like when they're stealing my IP and that garbage, YouTube is shadow banning my crap while running ads on it and not paying me money. Yeah, that'll get me to fix your economic problems, you fucking morons. What's wrong with these people? Yeah, just like today, too, just like I said, having your retarded garbage I fucking hate seeing around me. Instead of those fucking women, that should have had felt no fucking qualms about spending time around because they thought that a bunch of morons on the internet would somehow intimidate these girls into not spending time with me. Yeah, hope you intimidate your poverty away, you fucking shit. Scumbag society. So after years of super low interest rates and easy money, our leaders have thrown things into reverse. At this point, our money supply is actually falling at its fastest rate since the 1930s. And the fact that he writes that, and it's factually true, and yet you still have massive inflation, just goes to show how much of a retard society this is, and their retard government. Not to mention the retards they have, in Treasury too. Not just the Fed. Because they printed that much money and just thought it would be okay. Their money supply is actually falling, but they printed so much money, it doesn't matter. And they still get their massive inflation and failed banking system, which they now have to bail out and print more money. U.S. money supply is falling at its fastest rate since the 1930s, a red flag for the economy and financial markets. Money supply has now been shrinking year on year since December, an unprecedented development in modern times that should make investors sit up and take notice. Growth, asset prices, inflation could all weaken. Yeah, it definitely will. They're definitely going to get asset prices imploding. Inflation definitely won't be weakening for them because they printed trillions of dollars and now they have to print trillions more to try to paper over their collapse. According to Reuters, it is largely a consequence of the reversal of the liquidity generated by massive post-pandemic fiscal and monetary stimulus. Yeah, look at these dipshits. And again, you can hear their pseudoscience morons too, by the way. They should be on those medications because they think acting like idiots like that around me will somehow get me to fix all of their problems instead of enjoy watching it. Yeah, like I'm enjoying watching the sunset on the beach right now. You have no idea how much I enjoy these shits getting what they deserve. But the author here is, he says this in kind of a, more descriptive way than he needs to. All it is money printing. It wasn't stimulus. Because stimulus is meant to stimulate the economy. They paid people to be idle, to produce nothing. That stimulates nothing. They paid people to be useless. So, it's definitely not monetary stimulus. And, fiscal policy has just been idiotic. And don't forget, these are the morons that thought they would cause me problems with my jobs and businesses. and thought I would give a shit about their fiscal policy too. Fucking stupid. Yeah. Enjoy that fucking boat. And then the Federal Reserve shrinking its balance sheet via QE quantitative tightening. Yeah, it did for a little bit. Now it's not, because their banks started failing. Because, well, they printed so much money. And now they're just going to add fuel to the fire. Failing bank deposits, that of course should be obvious. Who in their right mind would keep their money in a bank that's insolvent? Oh, and here's more of the stupid piling in, by the way. It's not something that they can handle. Where it's not a reality that they can handle. Where you probably shouldn't have your garbage around me when you know goddamn well I don't want your garbage around me instead of those people that you know that I do. And expect any good things from my work that they tried to steal. They're just that dumb of a fucking society. And it's a great entertaining thing to watch them get massively impoverished. And weak demand for and provision of credit. Now again, who is going to provide these people with credit? Other countries that they do and I bring that up because they do the exact same stupid thing with China. They think they're going to piss those people off, and those people will still provide them with trillions of dollars of credit because they're just that deranged and stupid of an imbecile society. Or narcissistic too in their stupid little pseudoscience terms. So, needless to say, the 1930s were not a good time for our economy. Well, the 2030s, you will likely see nothing resembling any of the good times of the U.S. economy. Within, just a few short years, 5 or so less years, this place will be poorer than Mexico. And as our historic banking crisis rolls on, every single one of those banks will fail. Because every single one of them are insolvent. Well, almost every single one. And it only gets worse by the day. As those treasuries mature